Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Ganganapate Namaha. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha. Guru Reva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guru Ve Namaha. Sarva Mangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadike. Sharanye Trambake Devi Narayani Namostute. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Shri Sadguru Bhyo Namaha. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 18th of December 2025. I want to offer my prostrations to all the great sages and to Bhagavan residing in the heart of every single being. We are continuing to examine Gnan Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Ichha Shakti in connection to the realization of the Atma Tattva and Paramatma Tattva. So to continue from yesterday, please remember that beliefs of different kinds are within the framework of the Antakarana. Antakarana is called mind in Western psychology and philosophy. When we use the word mind in English language, the best corresponding term is Antakarana, which is much more specific and clear than the word mind. Okay, so when we say Antakarana, it has four composites. That is Manas, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankar. Man, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankar. Four. So the word mind, like the man, sometimes they're shown equally, but these are the four. So the conscious mind, then the intellect, the subconscious mind, and the individualized ego. These four are functions of the Antakarana. Karana means instrument, Antaha means internal. Now, this is an instrument. Instrument meaning it is a mechanism. It is a neurochemical, biochemical, subtle mechanism of the brain, body, mind complex. It's the brain-mind complex. But the Antakarana is part of the Sukshma Sharir. It is the Sukshma Sharir, in fact. Subtle body. This is a discovery of the rishis. And this is where our entire game of life is being played, inside the subtle body. And then with the physical body is the gross aspect. But our whole internal world is this. So the realization of the Atma Tattva is beyond the subtle body, beyond the causal body also. The causal body is the Karana Sharira. So the Atman itself is Prakash, Divya Prakash, divine Prakash, Alokik Prakash. It is the seer, Avinashi tu tadviddiyena sarvamidam tatam, Bhagavad Gita 2.17. Know that to be indestructible by which all this is pervaded. The Atma Tattva is pervading the body, physical body, and the subtle body. And of course, the causal body also. It is pervading all the tattvas of Maya. It is pervading, but it is not those tattvas of Maya. And that is a big difference. For example, there's hands, legs, head, ears, tongue, nose. Everything is, this is physical body structure. So the Atman is the knower of the physical body. So physical body is called Sharir. And the Atma Tattva is called Shariri. So if you're taking notes, you can write these points down. Shariri is the one who is inhabiting the body. Sharir, Shariri. Very interesting. So physical body is a biochemical mechanism. It is created from the genetic code, and the physical body is given by the grace of Bhagavan to each Jivatma to experience the causal body's manifestation. I hope this is clear. The Karana Sharir is not a physical body like this. It is not even the subtle body. It is a conglomeration of infinite lifetimes of sanskaras, of anubhav. It is jam-packed. That is called Karana Sharir. Karan is called Karan because that is the cause of rebirth. Why is there rebirth? Why is there reincarnation? Rebirth and reincarnation, or rebirth or reincarnation, exist because the Karana Sharir is attached to the Chaitanya Atma, the Chaitanya Jivatma. And the Chaitanya Jivatma is engulfed by the Karana Sharir. Each Jivatma has its own Karana Sharir. How many Jivatma are there? Infinite. So the Karana Sharir is itself another way to understand the Jivatmas residing inside Mahamaya, inside the womb of Mahamaya. It has to transition out of Mahamaya into the Akshardham, into Akshara Brahma, out into Brahma Tattva. That transition out from Mahamaya's womb into the Brahma Tattva is the entire Sanatan Dharma. Every Acharya, every teacher, every Guru has talked only about this. The Vedas are about this, the Vedanta is about this. All the commentaries are about this. All the sadhanas are about this. Bhakti is about this. No, everything is about this. It is to go outside the dynamics of Mahamaya, where there's rebirth upon rebirth upon rebirth. How many births have we taken? Infinite. Nobody knows. How many more births would we take ahead? Endless if we do not realize the truth. So it is up to us every single day, every single hour that we are alive. Because we are always alive. Avinashi tu tad viddhi. Who are we? We are Avinashi, indestructible. Bhagavan Krishna is telling Arjun in verse number 17, chapter number 2, that you are eternal. You are Avinashi. Avinashi tu tad viddhi. Viddhi means to know, to understand. Try to understand. Use your intelligence to realize that you are eternal. You are not perishable. हमारा स्वरूप कैसा है? हम शाश्वत, नित्य, sanatan. The word sanatan means eternal. The Atman is sanatana. That's why the dharma is called sanatana dharma. Because it is the realization of the eternal tattva that we are. And Bhagavat tattva is also eternal. Bhagavan ka jo dham hai, wo bhi eternal hai. Right? So, avinashi tu tad viddhi yena. Yena means because of which, and that tattva is present, is pervading everything. Pervading means inhabiting. Its power is pervading. And this is the Shakti inside the Antakaran. So the Atma has Shakti. Very interesting. The Atma has Shakti. Where did that Shakti come from? Where did the Shakti of the Atma come from? What is the Shakti of the Atma? Gnan Shakti, Ichha Shakti, Kriya Shakti. वो कहाँ से आया? We understand now, hopefully, what are the three Shaktis, at least to some extent. Where did it come from? It comes from the Paramatma, the Sakshi within the Atma. This is Vishishtadvait. हमारा जो आत्मा है और हमारा स्वरूप आत्म तत्व है, आत्मा का भी कुछ तत्व है, आत्मानु तत्व in Gujarati we say. That is Paramatma. That is Ishvara, Parameshwara, Parabrahma. वो अलग तत्व है, beyond the Atman. But the Atma is the body of that Paramatma. This is what is interesting. Just as this body, this is Sharir, and the Shariri is the Atma, because it is the body for the Atma. The Atma itself is a body for the Paramatma. It is called Sharir Shariri Sambandha at two different levels. Actually, there's more than those, but these are for our purposes. Let's look at those two levels. This physical body, we see this physical body. But deeper than the physical body is the Antakarana, Sukshma Sharira, Man Buddhi Chit Ahankara. वो सूक्ष्म शरीर है, ठीक है? Deeper than that is the causal body, which we cannot see, which we're not aware of usually. But we can see the force of that in terms of our vasanas, in terms of our continual desires, our ichha. The ichha shakti, the ichha that we have, it originates from the causal body. I want this and I want this and I want this and I want, so even that experience is actually in the subtle body, but the causal body is that cause of the rebirth itself. It expresses the sukshma sharir in the physical body. That is why every single bird, every single tree, every single animal, pashu, every single being, ants, bugs, everything has a body. Because of the sanskaras within the subtle body that are stored inside the causal body, and then that kind of physical body is given to the jivatma because of its accumulated karma, accumulated sanskara, its vritti, and on that basis that type of body is given. It's a great science. It's a metaphysical science, not science like how we understand it. Extraordinary. Extraordinary. We can see in the world, so many different beings are there. Srimad Bhagavatam talks about 8.4 million species or categories of this type. There's probably more than that. Nobody knows how many there are. It could be infinite number with all the Brahmanda and everything. It's endless. The Jivatma are also endless, infinite in number. They're everywhere also. Just in the room we're sitting, infinite Jivatma are there. In virus particles, bacteria particles, we cannot see them. The Jivatma is not something physical. They're present everywhere. That's what Bhagavan Krishna is saying. Avinashi tu tad vidyena sarvam idam tatam. Idam, the word idam means that which is known to us. This body is known to us, the world outside is known to us. But interestingly, from the point of the Atman, from the point of view of the Atma Tattva, the world is a projection. The world is a superimposition. This is Vedanta. Vedanta teaches us this, Advait Vedanta. It is called superimposition. What is superimposition? Hold on one second. Give me just a second. I need to turn something off. Hold on one second, please. Okay. So in Advait Vedanta, there is something called the doctrine of superimposition. We'll talk about this a little bit also so we can better understand the Atma Tattva. Superimposition means that there's only one reality, but there is another layer of perceiving it is called superimposition. For example, when we have carpet at home, actually there's nothing really like carpet. There's only cotton. Like, for example, if I'm wearing a t-shirt made out of 100% cotton, what do I call it? I say this is a shirt. But it's really only cotton. Similarly, when I say it is a shirt, this is called superimposition on cotton. Similarly, this physical body, the subtle body, the causal body, the world outside, the waking state, Jagrat Avastha, Swapna Avastha, Shushupti Avastha, all of this is a superimposition only on the one tattva. That one tattva is Brahman or Atman or Brahman, one, only one. So in Advait Vedanta, Advait means only one, not two. Dvait means two, Advait means not two. And it says not two because we have the experience of two. We have the experience of duality. So Advaita is the realization of the Atman. When we realize who we are, that is Advaita. When we don't realize what we are, that is Dvaita. In terms of the body, Maya, etc. So the point is that when we are taking a psychological journey through faith, Shraddha. Yesterday we talked about Shraddha as that bridge into the Tattva. Shraddhavan labate gnanam. Gnanam doesn't mean information and all that. Gnanam means realization here. Tatparaha sayyate indriyaha. That means the senses become absolutely still, stable, harmonized. Gnanam labdva param shantim achirenadhi gacchati. Param shanti ki prapti. It's anubhav. It's all total anubhav, this verse in the Gita. So Shraddha is developed after Nishta, faith. Nishta, conviction. I can be convinced, as I mentioned in more detail yesterday, I can be convinced that there is Atman. I can read Shankaracharya's teachings, I can read Vachanamrut, I can read the Gita, I can read Ramakrishna Paramahans, I can read so many teachers and gurus and all that. My mind is convinced. Okay, I'm convinced that there is Atman. That I'm even convinced that is really me. But that is not Anubhav. Sorry, hold on a second. I gotta close these blinds. I should have done this. Hold on 1 second, please. All right, there we go. That should be a little bit better. So I can be convinced, but that's why Bhagavan Krishna in verse 17, chapter 2, he's saying, Avinashi tu tad vidhi. He's not saying that you simply get convinced. You try to realize it. Vidhi, the word vidhi is an interesting one. We can say, well, I should know it. Knowing, and this is an interpretation of this word, it's not just knowing intellectually. It is knowing internally. Avinashi tu tad vidhi. You see, so the intellectual knowledge is one level. We need that. I can get intellectual knowledge, so can you, about Bhagavan Krishna, Bhagavan Ram, Charitras, this, that. All kinds of intellectual knowledge is there. Vedantic concepts and ideas, we are talking about them every day. That is intellectual knowledge. But that is not realization. Realization is to retune the entire antakarana, and particularly the Shakti within the antakarana, to the frequency of Brahma Vidya. Now, that is the real challenge. Even to understand this is not easy. But let's see if we can try to understand. It is to retune our frequency. First of all, where is our frequency? Our frequency is tuned inside this samsar का जो अनुभव है, इसमें tune हो गया है. And that tuning is through aham and mamatva, which we've talked about before. That is where it is tuned. Now that aham and mamatva needs to be retuned, me and mine, and the activity of the antakarana is retuned into the frequency of Sat Shastra. This is why scriptures are necessary. Shastra, not everything is Shastra, but particularly Bhagavad Gita is number one Shastra. It is Adhyatmik Shastra. So to tune our vritti to what Krishna is teaching us, Sri Krishna is teaching us, and to actually remain in that sadhana of tuning again and again and again. That tuning again and again, hour to hour. Literally, it's not day to day even, it's hour to hour. And then it's minute to minute, it's breath to breath. It is a continuous retuning. And when we enter into that domain of retuning our antakarana to the frequency of Brahma Vidya meaning that knowledge, that wisdom, that truth, that that will take us into the realization of Brahman, which also includes bhakti, of course. When we retune our antakarana this way, through Navda Bhakti, through all the different sadhanas, there's so many of them, yogic sadhanas and all, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dharma Yoga, Karma Yoga, etc. It is all a retuning. When we actually begin the retuning process, there is naturally the mind, brain, body balance. In angel wing programs, we talk about this in much more foundational detail. But if we start doing it directly through Sanatan Dharma, what we're talking, everything that we want to do in the background programs of angel wing and other programs like that, automatically will be done. It'll be done automatically because my intention is to realize Brahman, not to believe in Brahman only, to realize the Atman, to realize the Param Tattva, and not simply to be tormented and lost and bound inside the sansar. See these three words: to be tormented in the sansar, to be lost in the sansar, to be bound inside the sansar. 99.99999% of all human beings, and of course all the other jivatma, all the other animals and everything, they're bound. This is the situation. That is because that is the way Maya has expressed itself. But we have an opportunity through this body, through satsanga, through all the scriptures, through Guru Paramparas, to be unbound, to not be lost, to be found again, to not be tormented, but to find Ananda. We have the opportunity if we want it. If we don't want it, because our mind is highly conditioned into those three things: bandhan, which is bondage, to be lost in the sansar, thinking that is eternal, sansar chakra mein doob jana, that's the second point, and then to be hurt again and again and again. We are continuously damaging ourselves. Human beings are damaging themselves inside this material world. Most people are constantly doing that. I was doing some research yesterday on this with regard to some of the new developments in technology and all that, how technological development can just bind the individual rather than use it for our development. Thousands of examples. I won't go into them right now. We have a choice. Nobody can make the choice for us. Every hour of every day, Sachin has a choice. Do I want to discover Ananda, or do I want to remain trapped? And there are people who say lip service, I want Ananda, I want freedom, I want that. But internally, that's not what they want. Internally, they want to remain bound. Nobody can help the person. If you want to remain bound, Bhagavan bhi swayam kehte remain bound. You don't need to come to me. There's no force. When we ourselves decide, Sachin has to decide once and for all, absolutely, kabhi mukta hi banna hai, bas. Nothing else. No other diversion. When that determination is made, abhi mukta sthiti mein hi jana hai, prema bhakti hi prapta karni hai, and no other diversion from that. The world can break apart if it has to. Gopalan Swami kehte, આખું જગત નો નાશ થઈ જાય તો પણ અંતઃકરણની અંદર આવી સ્થિતિ હલે નહીં. Things are changing all the time in this sansar. What is new in that? Even if we have technology to go to other galaxies and all that, nothing new is actually over there. It's the same nonsense that is going on here, it's going on over there. Sab Maya ka chakkar hai. Doesn't matter how many galaxies we've discovered, even if we can go to all those galaxies. Maybe some new form of expression of the Agnan is there. That's all it is. It's nothing new. It's not the Atma Tattva. Bhagavan ka jo sakshatkar is beyond the Brahmand, beyond all of this material reality. So we have to decide if we want to reach Mukta Sthiti, तो इसमें से डाइवर्जन नहीं होना चाहिए. किसकी तैयारी है? निष्कुड़ानंद स्वामी कहते हैं, खोली खोली ने खोली यू खरा खपवाड़ा नी खोटे रे. भक्त चिंतामणि में उन्होंने लिखा है. You know what that means? He's saying, I'm seeing thousands of people, but hardly you'll find someone who has true destination to realize that param tattva. Khara kapa vada nikho. Kap means mumukshitvam, intensity to realize. Kiski tayari? We are so content on living in trash, in the trash can, and creating trash can inside. Why? Get out of that thing. Every hour of every day is amrutam. Amrut pina hai. Not dukh, loneliness, agitation, conflicts, meaninglessness. Make each hour beautiful. But various actions, activities, make it filled with action. This is Kriya Shakti. When we do this, then we are fulfilling the purpose of this body. The purpose of this body, mind, senses is not to be dull and desensitized and to be in tamas, tamogun. And if that is happening, to awaken the Shakti from inside using mantras, by exercising, by yogic sadhanas, and by deliberately setting goals every hour. This is our angel wing concept. If we don't do this, nobody can do it for us. Sachin can talk about it. I can talk about it to all of you or to hundreds of other people. I've spoken about it for many years now. But if Sachin is not doing it himself, meaningless. For me, it's meaningless. Maybe for others, it might have some meaning if they're doing it. Practical application. We can talk about the Atman, we can talk about all these beautiful ideas. Iska anubhav kaise hoga? Anubhav comes about when we decide clearly that we are going to be a liberated being. Liberated being is called Jivan Mukta, and that means that there is no distortion left at all. There is no entangled attachment anywhere. There is no raga advesha anywhere. There is no wastage of time. There is no wastage of manovritti, mansik bal. There is no wastage of energy. None. And energy, time, it is utilized to reach Jivan Mukta Sthiti, to reach Prema Bhakti, to dive into the Shastras. How many of us take Vivek Chudamani, Bhagavad Gita, scriptures and dive into them? It's difficult in the beginning. Beginning to start with 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but time is short in life. Are we going to get the time back? Watching endless hours of garbage stuff on TV, is that going to help us go towards mukti? Or actually diving into Shastras, listening to scriptures, doing sadhana? Sadhana is key, is to open up the Shakti from inside. Sadhana mein जीवन एक साधना बन जाए. See, as much as we've talked about before, sadhana doesn't take us to Paramatma. But without doing sadhana, one doesn't realize Paramatma. Both are true. It's very interesting. Everybody has done sadhana. Bhagavan Krishna himself was an Ashtanga yogi. Unke bhi guru the. Bhagavan Ram has done so much sadhana. Who hasn't done sadhana? Everybody has. Nilkhand Varani, Bhagavan Swaminarayan. कितनी साधना की है उन्होंने. हमारे जीवन में भी साधना तो करनी ही चाहिए, because this life is for doing sadhana. But the caveat is that the sadhana is to be done without ahankar, and the sadhana is done for prasannata. Bhagwan और भगवान के जो संत है उनकी प्रसन्नता. Prasannata is krupa, and the maya is removed that way. Maya cannot be overcome by our sadhana. But sadhana is done so that our life is so much better, so we are prepared. We are prepared for Bhagavad Krupa to remove the maya. It's a preparation. It's like somebody in the university. Let's put it this way. Somebody enters into a bachelor's degree program in chemistry. Right? And so they have to take class after class after class, 4 years of classes, 125 credits. This is sadhana. But the student cannot give himself the degree. Isn't that true? Is that possible? That would be ridiculous. That doesn't work like that. The university has to confer the degree during graduation. Yes, you've met all the criteria, Krupa hot. The university says, you have met the criteria, absolutely we will give you the degree. If criteria are missing, no, you have to take more classes, take some degree classes, do something else so that you can meet the criteria. It's exactly like that, folks. Realization of Atman and Paramatma requires the meeting of prerequisites. संत के गुण, आत्मनिष्ठा, ब्रह्मनिष्ठा, शास्त्रों का अध्ययन, अंतःकरण की शुद्धता, पवित्रता, राग द्वेष छोड़ दे. This is all sadhana. We can do so much. We can do. There's a Vachanamrita. I'll show you sometime. I think it's Karyani 12. Purush Prayatna nu Vachanamrita. I may be making the mistake with the reference. I have to double check it. Purush Prayatna nu Vachanamrita. Vachanamrita, एक full Vachanamrita इस point पर. क्या नहीं हो सकता? If we set the destination कि अभी आत्मा और परमात्मा का साक्षात्कार करना है और वो कैसे करेंगे? विद शक्ति. शक्ति बिना कुछ नहीं होता. And to stop completely the wastage of shakti. Stop wasting money, first of all. Stop wasting time. Stop wasting our verbal shakti. Stop wasting our manovritti. And when we stop wasting shakti, that is the krupa of Guru. Guru is inside. The stopping of the wastage of shakti and utilization of the best utilization of shakti is Guru Krupa. Because the only thing that we have directly to work with is shakti and nothing else. Right now, Sachin is speaking. Can I talk without energy functioning through my brain, body, mind, senses? Is it possible? Can you listen without Shakti? Nothing happens without Shakti. Gnan Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Ichha Shakti, Swarupini. माता जी देवी का दिव्य नाम है ये. और उनकी कृपा से, उनकी कृपा ही है. People say, क्या कृपा था से? When will this कृपा occur? When do you want it to occur? It's already there. Krupa is always showering. It's not, Bhagavan is not selective. I'll bless these people, not this. This kitna nonsense baat hai ye sab. Some traditions have that foolishness also. That we are, better than others. That we are more blessed than somebody. Such idiotic things are there inside this world. This is another ahankar only. There's nothing other than that. Sorry, I'm not trying to criticize anybody. ये जो वेदांत की जो दृष्टि है इसमें से ही जगत का कल्याण है. Otherwise, most of the religious traditions are in conflict with each other. They're not interested in even talking to each other. किसका कल्याण होगा? छोड़ो ये वो सब्जेक्ट ही छोड़ दो. कृपा is continuously flowing. But our mind is so foolish. It thinks Krupa will happen later. Krupa doesn't happen later. First of all, there is nothing like later. First of all. There is only now. And that now is the Atman. Present moment. Time is flowing. Calendar time is flowing. Psychological time is flowing. But it's all flowing within the present moment because of the Atma and Paramatma's presence. Krupa is always happening. And what is this Krupa? Stopping total 100% wastage of Shakti. Gnan, Kriya, Ichha Shakti is the stopping the wastage of these three. We talked, our Angel Wing program talks a lot about this. I'm mentioning it here specifically because there's no other way to realize the Atma. और भगवान का साक्षात्कार, भगवान को देखना है. You want to see Krishna in the abode of God. You want to have darshan of Sri Krishna. You want to have darshan of Sri Ram, darshan of Bhagwan, jo bhi swarup mein. Bhagwan to ek hi, it's only one tattva. You want to have realization, not simply beliefs and ideologies and concepts and spinning around, little bit of satsang here, then spinning back and dive into the mud pit again. Want to stop this rolling back and forth? Take this mala. भगवान की माला लेना. भगवान के जो बड़े बड़े संतों है उनकी चरण रज चढ़ाना दिमाग पर, on the head, and भगवान की उपासना में लग जाना. श्वासो श्वास भजन जब लागे, टूटन दे तन दोरा, नाथ छवि अंतर में निरखत जैसे चंद चकोरा. ब्रह्मानंद जी कहते हैं, ब्रह्मानंद स्वामी. किसकी तैयारी है? Why waste even 1 second? Yes, we have to perform our duties. Perform them in the light of Karma Yoga, offer them at the feet of Guru and Paramatma. Enough. End of story. We don't take responsibility for anybody else's development. We have to take responsibility for our own development. Serve others, help others, take good qualities of others, encourage others. Don't get attached to anybody in this world. Nobody. Only Narayan. भगवान के जो 2 चरण है वहां ही अटैचमेंट होना चाहिए. Nowhere else. If the attachment is spinning in any other place, that is Maya. And that will spin, that will cause rebirth. Yes. We have a choice. भगवान का ही साक्षात्कार करना है, or we want to keep spinning. Ishvaraha sarvabhutanam yantraruಢani mayaya. You keep spinning inside the Brahmand. How many children are born? Just go to the maternity ward. People are so happy when their child is born. Yes, be happy. But also recognize this child is born again, trapped inside the sansar. People celebrate birthdays, right? We should celebrate day of mukti. कि अभी मैं मुक्त बन गया हूँ. ये birthday celebrate करने का क्या point है? It's okay. It's just it's a reminder of you're coming back into this garbhavas, back out of agnan. It's an agnan day, not anything all that great. What is great is the mukta day, not birthday. Have you thought about this point? We celebrate everybody's birthday. But do we ever celebrate, मैं मुक्ता बन गया हूँ, उसका celebration कीजिए? ये birthday का जो celebration है, वो तो गर्भवास का celebration है. That the jivatma, out of his agnan, out of his attachments, out of his entanglements, is come back right into the womb of the mother and is born again. What is the big deal about that? The big deal is you have a human body. Yes, that is gratitude. But there's so much attachment to that. But when we realize that the birth of a child, as glorious, we do seva, bhakti, everything is there. But that jivatma is born out of agnan. The only exception is mukta states. जो भगवान के जो मुक्ता आते हैं, that's the only exception. Otherwise, we are also born. Gunatitanand Swami कहता है, Sachin is not saying these things. Gunatitanand Swami कहते हैं, if we really had realization of Bhagavad Tattva, we would not be born again. And this is the real question. See the child's life. Born in somebody's family, crying and shouting and screaming, and body is there, not knowing what to do, dependency, has to be trained again. Do we want to go through this again? Who wants to go through that again? To be tormented inside this sansar. Davanar Agni Jevo sansar chya. In the ISKCON, Hare Krishna, they have a beautiful, it's a Guru Ashtak, and they talk about this Davanar. I'll show it to you sometime. Determination should be made कि भगवान के चरणों में ही रहना है, बस end of the matter, and do our duties with love, affection. There's no issue left. How can there be any issue left? Because the sansar is going in a direction that is continuously binding itself, and the other direction is mukta sthiti, and it's a choice. It is a decision to be made. A decision is made hour to hour, that in the next hour, are my actions taking me towards mukta sthiti? Are they keeping me drowning inside the mud of this sansar? That's it. It's very, very simple. And it goes hour to hour, not day to day. People say, oh, I want to do bhakti. I want to go do this. It's general statement, meaningless, useless statements. It doesn't take one anywhere. It's just making... In Gujarati, we say, Akash ma bhadaka. કોઈ અર્થ નથી આનો. What is the point of just making random statements, as if Bhagavan or God realization or mukti or these things are something to be purchased in a store somewhere? To wake up, to awaken from inside, from the slumber of the three gunas of Maya, to awaken, Jagrut Banjana, that I cannot waste time. Akhand Jagruti honi chahiye. And when that happens, my God, हमारे अंतकरण में जो शक्ति है इसका ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन हो जाता है टोटली. यस, it transforms, it realigns with the frequency of Satpurush, Sat Shastra, और हमारे जो विचार है उसको कहते हैं सद विचार में उसका ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन हो जाता है. And that sad vichar is called Shuddha vichar also, Divya vichar in Vedras. भगवान स्वामीनारायण एंड महाराज ये भी कहते हैं कि ये जो शुद्ध विचार है, दिव्य विचार है, ब्रह्म स्वरूपिणी विचार है, ये विचार और द तत्व इटसेल्फ, द ब्रह्म तत्व, पर ब्रह्म तत्व इज द सेम. नाउ ऑल दैट इज रिमेन्स इज टू रीट्यून आवर अंतकरण की जो वृत्ति है वो ब्रह्ममय ब्रह्म स्वरूपिणी वृत्ति बना देगी. यहां ही सब कुछ है. This is Brahma Vidya. This is Atma Vidya. This is the essence of all of the 700 verses of the Gita. This is the Bhagavatam. And once we enter into the domain of Amrutam, then there's wanting more and more and more. Not as in terms of greed or anything like that. Not in that way. Not in that way. It is not greed. It is, what is the right word for that? It is called sad vasna. There are two words, sat, S-A-T. The next word is vasna. Sat vasna, sad vasna, when you combine. That I want to know more. I want to do more bhakti. There's more absorption in Paramatma. And that doesn't mean we are ignoring our duties in the world. On the contrary, the duties become so easy to perform because all the tension, all the worry is gone. Every action is remaining in a balanced state. It's the right action and it's taking me towards Jivan Mukta Sthiti. And how to do that? By recognizing what is wastage of time and energy. समय बगाड़वो नहीं in Gujarati में, and शक्ति नो नाश ना करवो. Two statements are there. And if you remember from Shirdi के जो साई बाबा थे, वो क्या कहते थे? श्रद्धा and saburi. Go to any Sai Mandir, these two words are there everywhere in the Sai Mandir. People worship Sai Baba. I'm using that as an example, right? Using him as an example. उनका main teaching क्या था? These are the two main teachings. We talked about Shraddha yesterday. Shraddha is the doorway. And patience. अनंत को अनुभव करना है, अनंत शांति होनी चाहिए, स्थिरता होनी, धीरज. There's a scripture called Dhiraj Akhyan. Nishkoranand Swami has written this. Dhiraj Akhyan. Dhiraj. Jivan mein dhiraj, shanti. This is not, this realization of the Atman and Paramatma. It's not like I can do a lot of sadhana and now, this thing has to happen. Atma realization and Paramatma realization is not the result of our ego-driven sadhana. One has to have patience, have all the prerequisites met. Just like the university student has finished the 4th year. Everything is done. The final exams are done in the 4th year. The grades are there. Everything is done. The only thing remaining is graduation ceremony. And the moment the graduation ceremony happens and the degree is in the hand, one is no longer doing any more sadhana in the university. One has come out of sadhana into the realization. But the realization cannot be given by the sadhak, by the student, has to be given by the university, by the professors. इसीलिए कहते हैं in Gujarati, in स्वामीनारायण सत्संग, सुंदर बात लिखी है महाराज ने, गुणातीतानंद स्वामी, भगवान અને ભગવાનના સંત એ મોક્ષના દાતા છે. The giver of mukti is God. And Bhagwan ke jo mukta hai, sant hai, wo Bhagwan hi, God only remains in them and gives us. Mukti has to be given to the Jivatma. Jivatma cannot give itself mukti. It's like, somebody who's inside the prison and they have done their time, served 4 years or 5 years in the prison. They've done their time. Everything is done. All the programs are done. They've rehabilitated. Everything is done. They put on their regular clothes. They put the prison clothes are gone. But the jailer has to open the lock and say, now you come inside. Even if everything is done, jailer says, I'm not opening the door. You cannot get out. The prisoner cannot open the door himself or herself. The warden, the jailers, the one who has the key can open the door. Similarly, Bhagwan ke jo sant hai, Bhagwan swayam hai, unke paas wo chavi hai, they can open the door into the Akshardham. Nobody else can do that. But that door only opens for those who want that door to open and who have completed the prerequisite. Otherwise, there is no chance of opening that door. It cannot open. It will not open, in fact. Jesus himself said, knock and the door shall be opened. This is the fact. Kiski tayari hai? Are we ready to develop our life and really enter into Jivan Mukta Sthiti, Akhand Bhakti, डूब जाना गीता जी में, डूब जाना भजन कीर्तन में, सेवा करना, and keep this knowledge internally. Sachin is talking about it on this platform. I don't talk about these things this way with anybody. One has to be very careful. Jitlu ghate tetlu bolu. See the circumstance. Who is ready? Who is in front of us? This is not to be thrown on masses of people's heads. They will throw it back on our head and throw some trash also on top of that. Guaranteed that you try to explain this to just ordinary people, they will take a bucket load of trash and throw it on our head. It's not to be explained to everybody, not this way. This is for those who are truly ready, and then in interacting with others with love, with compassion, with tolerance, maybe some little idea, if the person is ready, thoda openness to examine, just as a seva, that's fine. Most people are not. Most people are drowning in the sansar. Uske kya tayari hai? Inke liye prarthna karo, inki kuch seva karo. That is more important. Rather than arguing with people and trying to explain these ideas, just like this, very difficult by the way. I also don't do it. I learned a very hard way, that lesson. Very hard way. Very difficult lesson to learn. Sometimes we get so excited by all this, we want to tell everybody everything continuous. Nahi, aisa nahi karna. I'm telling myself because I learned that lesson in a very difficult way. That's a long story. This is, Bhagavan Krishna himself says, this is Brahma Vidya. This is for Arjun. This is my Shishya. Ye Shishya steham. Bhagavan ke jo hum Shishya ban jate hai, because we are all at the feet of Sri Krishna, at the feet of the Gita, at the feet of Narayana. Unke charanon mein hai. Shishya steham. But Arjuna becomes a Shishya first, and then the Upadesham begins. Otherwise, Bhagavan Krishna would not have even given him the Upadesh. Until we are in that state of receiving the divine knowledge, wisdom, truth, understanding, and then the decision is made that yes. Because Bhagavan Krishna says in the end of the Gita, he tells Arjuna, you decide what you want to do. This is my opinion. I've taught you everything. I cannot make the decision for you. The decision is made only by you. And then he says, there's a beautiful verse, Nashto mohaha smrtir labdva tvat prasadan maya chuta gatos atosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. My moha is gone. Hey Prabhu. और हमारी स्थिति ऐसी होनी चाहिए. हमारे अंतःकरण में जो मोह है, मोह means that which is real is seen as unreal. That which is unreal is seen as real. That is called moha. Satyama asatya nibhranti, asatyama satya nibhranti. This is called moha. Nashto moha. Moha nash ho gaye. Smritir labdva tvat prasadam. By your prasadam, Bhagavad Gita is a prasad. That Arjuna is saying, I have received prasadam from you. These nectarine, liberating words. And my moha is gone. Nashto moha smritir labdva tvat prasadan mayachita. Gatosmi, atosmi gatasande. You know, all my delusion is gone. I will now do what you're asking me to do. Karishye vachanam tava. आप बोलेंगे ऐसा ही होगा. This is what we were talking about. That our Kriya Shakti, our activity, it resonates with the teachings, life, and truth of all of the great Santa Parampara. And we resonate with that, and we are in resonance with that. That is called Brahma Swarupini Bhakti. So we move into that dimension by Krupa into Mukta. Mukta ban jate hai. Mukta banate hai Bhagavan, और भगवान के जो संत है वो मुक्त बनाते हैं. कौन ही तैयारी छे? Who's ready? Let's stop here for now. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurumedev Sarvakarishu Sarvada Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Vame Yasya Sita Radha Shrisha Yasya Asti Vakshasi Vrindavana Viharam Tam Sri Krishnam Rudi Chinte Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Om Shriman Narayanaya Namo Namaha Om Bhagavate Shri Swami Narayanaya Namo Namaha Om Parabrahmane Namaha Om Namah Shivaya. Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundai Viche Swaha. Om Durge Rakshini Tha Swaha. Shri Durga Arpanamastu. Shri Radha Krishna Arpanamastu. Okay.